This is the Nissan GTR in this, what I'm going to call forest green. And this is by MOTORHELIX. And this unique color on this GTR, I have to say, I did a review of the silver Z-Tune probably about a month or two ago. And I did both the auto art as well as the MOTORHELIX. I have to say, this one here is my favorite. And I'm saying that just because this color is just so unique. And it's done by the MOTORHELIX company, which in my review when I compared it to the auto art, this one, or the MOTORHELIX versions of the GTRs, are slightly better than the auto arts. They just have a little more closer detail. And it is metal die cast, which is really great. They get the shape really accurate to the real thing. And despite it being die cast, the shut lines are fantastic on this particular model. The other thing is this paint. It's stunning. There's not a flaw anywhere. And unlike what you would expect when you get a die cast metal model, that well-known and common paint rash being that there's some kind of distortion in the paint, so it's called paint rash. I've yet to see any of that on any of the MOTORHELIX models, which is very good. Just focusing on the front of this beautiful car, you have these yellowed lights, and they definitely contrast really well with the rest of the car. You have this nice big intercooler. You have the matching front markers, I guess that's what you'd call them. And again, just very well detailed. You can see the horns through the mesh grille, which they have both at the top and the bottom, so this is very nicely done, photo etched grills. If you move to the back of the model, again, plenty of detail, very accurate tail lights. You got your third brake light there. There's an indentation for the keyhole for the back of the trunk lid. And again, pay attention to how nicely and how thin those shut lines are. This is a metal die cast model. You have the prominent Skyline written out on the back of the model as well. If you go down further, you do have the exhaust, and it is deep enough that it looks believable, so it's a nice hollow exhaust. You can peek down a little bit and you can see some of the undercarriage details, which we will show in another shot soon. It's just all well done. Nice transparent brake lights there as well. The wheels on this particular model are also very good. And what you see here is that you have a complete wheel. You have, not only do you have the disc brake, which is again very well detailed, you have scripting or branding on the tires, which is very nice. This is a spoked satin rim. Now I can say that it is not the very best rim. I would say if there was a weakness for MOTORHELIX with their Skylines, that would definitely be it. It would be their disc brake, or not disc brake, I'm sorry, their wheel. The other thing that's missing off of their wheels is the valve stem. There's no valve stem on the MOTORHELIX. And I'm not sure why a model at this price point would not have it. But withstanding that, the wheels are very, very nice. And there you are. Looking at the familiar GTR engine, plenty to see here, plenty of detail. This particular one differentiates a little bit from the Z-tune in that. Keep in mind, this is not a Z-tune, so some of the engine components should be different. For example, the tubing for the intake here is definitely different. This is a carbon fiber piece, and it's a very nice carbon fiber piece, very realistic looking. The airbox is a little bit different, but other than that, it's pretty much the same as the Z-tune. I love that all the decals are very legible everywhere. You also have a dipstick for the oil, which is a separate piece. You can tell this company put a lot of time and effort in making sure there's plenty of detail and try to capture as much as possible. So you're getting a lot for what you pay for here. I really like the imprinted RB information on the timing chain cover. This down here is the actual intercooler. There's those horns. You have fans. You have the carbon fiber here for the radiator cover. This here is actually the prop for the hood, which I didn't necessarily need to use because it stands on its own, because it has very good hinges. I mean, very good hinges. Again, a little differentiator from the Z-tune. This particular one has Recaro seats, and these are obviously aftermarket Recaro seats. These are fixed seats, fixed in that the back does not recline on the actual seat, nor obviously on the model as well. You have the hole for the seat belt. There is a stitched seat belt here and a photo etched buckle, of course. There's flocking, which would be for the carpeting at the bottom. You have your Nissan floor mat. Let's move on over to the other side. Not too much difference here. I really like that they put the stitching line there, so it looks like a stitch, which is really nice. The material is very good. I mean, it looks like Alcantara, the way it should. You have that Nardi steering wheel, which is a nice touch. If you're familiar with that, it's a very popular steering wheel that's used with tuner cars. You have the typical, actually typical, it's not really typical, but just very well done pedals at the bottom there. It's very nice photo etched pieces there as well. All the switches on the door card are there, as they should be. You have this nice door seal plate at the bottom. It has a V-spec on there. It's just a lot here to see. It's really awesome that you have all this detail. You even have the decal for the different information, including the weight of the car and things like that. The other thing I wanted to point out, well, here's the trunk. Typical trunk. Nothing crazy there. Very nice supports though. Very nice supports. Something I wanted to point out. The mirrors are carbon fiber and they're painted over, and they're just perfection. It's a shot of the dashboard. Very well done. Very crisp and clear numbers and dials. You have the GTR on the screen there as well. And again, there's a much better look at those foot pedals. Nicely done. Instead of keeping the carbon fiber wing black, it is also done in that carbon fiber. So it's a paint over the carbon fiber, and it looks so well done. And as I mentioned, there's not a scratch anywhere on this paint. There's no paint rash, and the clear coat is very thick. And finally, we have the underside, and there is plenty to see here. The covers that come with this I took off for obvious reasons so you could see it. And again, just so much detail by MOTORHELIX. They put things on here. They put things on here that you wouldn't expect to be on the underside, but they put it here anyway. You have this discolored exhaust, which is supposed to be titanium, and they do a good job of showing it as a burned titanium. And it's not just one flat color. You can see the discoloration is uneven, which it should be if you're trying to make it look like the real deal. It just goes to show how much work and detail is put into the MOTORHELIX models. And there you are, the Nissan Skyline GTR by MOTORHELIX Models.